Hey, this is John and Lucian from the Stub group team. We're coming to you in November of 2024 with several updates about the state of Google Ads suspension processes and response times and things like that. And if you don't know who Stub Group is, we're a digital advertising agency, a premier Google partner, and we help businesses dominate Google Ads and get their Google Ads accounts back online. So, Lucian, let's talk about kind of where things are at. Things are always changing with Google. Nothing is static, and obviously our team gets to see very, very closely every change that Google brings about in the suspension space because we spend so much time helping advertisers navigate those waters and get their ads accounts back online. So maybe kind of walk us through what are some of the top changes that you've seen this year and especially in the last couple of months in the suspension approach that Google has.
Top changes: about 6 months ago, Google said you can't get access to suspended accounts, which is, a bummer. You can't add users, you can't remove users, you can't make changes to campaigns, so you can't remove ads, things like that. More recently, they've been updating the appeal forms. So they've made them simplified. So for circumventing, for example, we've seen 2 different appeal forms that are basically simplified, so less questions. It's not the whole long appeal form anymore. It's one of them's simply 2 questions. What changes have you made since your last appeal? And what else do you want us to consider? And then the other one has a few additional questions like what's your website, things like that. So we think they're doing this just to streamline the review process on their end. So yeah, those are the main changes we're seeing.
Yeah, and I mean it sounds nice. It's like, oh, there's less to send to Google, but I would say from what we've seen, it actually makes things harder because there's less of an argument that you're able to make initially to Google of what's going on, what you fixed. And so it's all the more important that you have everything, perfect with the website, that you've figured out what may have gone wrong in the account. Obviously, these days you can't actually remove things and change things from the account like you mentioned because they now kind of put a freeze in place, but at least making sure you know what may have gone wrong in Google's eyes, what may have been flagged, and then with the limited opportunities in the appeal form, addressing that, and then also in the follow-up with Google, addressing that as well. Super important in order of getting the results that we want to see. I think another thing that we're seeing as well, like you mentioned with Google trying to streamline things, is often the initial couple of appeals that get submitted related to a suspension are going to, let's say, either going to Google's automated systems, not reaching a human at all, or they're going to a vendor team, so not full-time Google employees, but essentially contractors that they hire to review things, take a look at things initially, and kind of make initial decisions on appeals, which in our experience is not ideal because often those vendor teams are not very consistent in how they're applying Google's policies, and like to err on the side of saying no, even when they should be saying yes. And so there's a lot of pushing that has to be done, trying to get things in front of a Google full-time employee to review. There's certainly limitations on what you can push and can't push because ultimately Google likes their black box and what's going on, routing things where they want to. But there's definitely levers you can kind of push on, things you can do to try and make sure you're getting to actual human review of things. I think another thing you've mentioned, Lucian, that we're seeing recently is faster response times sometimes for appeals, which kind of relates as well to Google trying to streamline things, which again sounds great. Get a response back quickly, awesome. But if that's because they're not really digging into things and really evaluating your case, and they're just giving you a quick no, then that's not helpful. So lots of different nuances and things that we're digging through on the suspension side of things to figure out how to, get actual reviews of appeals, figure out what actually went wrong with your website, with your account, and get things back online. Any other things come to mind as far as updates, new things, new policies come around the corner, anything like that you think we should cover today?
Just make sure that you have everything, all your website, up to date. Everything there looks good, it's compliant. If there's something in your ad account that's not compliant, you can't make that change, but definitely explain it in the appeal. But yeah, Google's just been more automated than ever lately, so you just need to definitely make sure that everything looks good in terms of your website and ad accounts.
And if you don't want to travel this road alone, you want to bring some experts in to help, we would love to help. Reach out through stubgroup.com and we'll take a look at your situation, figure out an action plan for you based upon our experience and what we see working well right now for other clients, and work to get you back online. So until next time, John and Lucian signing off.